How can you round whole numbers? Think about this question during the lesson. Rounding replaces one number with another number that tells about how many or how much. Think, is 634 closer to 600 or 700? One way to solve this is to use a number line. Think of counting by hundreds starting at 100. What two numbers does 634 come between? 634 comes between 600 and 700. Is 634 to the right or to the left of 650? 634 is to the left of 650. Let's round 634 to the nearest hundred. Find the digit in the rounding place. Underline this digit. Since 6 is in the hundreds place, what value does the 6 have? The value of the 6 is 600. Since 3 is in the tens place, what value does the 3 have? The value of the 3 is 30. What is the next step? Look at the digit to the right of the rounding place. If this digit is 5 or greater, add 1 to the rounding digit. If the digit is less than 5, leave the rounding digit alone. Should we change the 6? Leave 6 the same. What is the next step? Change all the digits to the right of the rounding digit to zeros. 634 rounds to... What number does 634 round to? 634 is closer to 600 on a number line and when rounding. So 634 rounds to 600.
Today's lesson is going to be on rounding whole numbers and decimals. First, we're going to look at the flow map for the steps for rounding whole numbers. The first step is underline the place you are rounding to. Then look at the digit to the right. If it is 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, add 1 to the underlined digit. If it is less than 5, or 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4, leave the underlined digit alone. Copy everything to the left down. Turn everything to the right to zeros. These are the steps for rounding whole numbers. Now let's look at the steps for rounding decimals. All right, let's look at these steps. Underline the place value you are rounding to. So this is the same as for whole numbers. For decimals, we're going to box it in. And there's a reason for this that I'll explain later when we're doing examples. So box it in. Look at the digit to the right of the underlined digit. If it is 5 or more, or 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, add 1 to the underlined digit. If it is less than 5, or 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4, leave it alone. Copy everything to the left down and stop. No zeros. You do not add zeros to decimals. Now we're going to give you some examples. We're going to start out practicing rounding decimals. Our first number is 46 and 327 thousandths. Notice we've underlined the 2 in the hundredths place, which is the place we're rounding to. Next, we're going to box it in. The reason that we're boxing it is so that the children do not put zeros after the underlined place value. This stops them from putting a box. We just tell them they cannot write outside the box. Look at the digit to the right. Notice it's a 7, which is greater than or equal to 5. So we're going to add 1 to the underlying number. That's going to turn our 2 into a 3. The next step, copy everything to the left down and stop. No zeros. Do not write outside of the box. Let's try another one. 38 and 253 thousandths. Notice the 5 in the hundredths place is the one we're rounding to. We're going to box it in, and we're going to look at the digit to the right. This time, my digit is less than 5, so we're going to do nothing to the underlying digit or add 0. Causing it to remain a 5. Copy everything to the left down, and stop. No zeros. Do not write outside of the box. Now let's give a little practice for rounding whole numbers. My number is 285,476,541. Notice the 6 in the 1,000 place is the one we're rounding to. We're going to look at the digit to the right. Since this digit is 5 or more, we're going to add 1 to the underlying digit, causing it to be a 7. We're going to copy everything to the left down and turn everything to the right to zeros. That is the only difference between rounding decimals and whole numbers. Let's try another one. Our number is 143,242,356. Now we're going to round to the 100,000th place. We're going to look at the digit to the right. This time, our digit is going to be less than 5, so we're going to do nothing to the underlying digit or add 0. And it remains a 2. Copy everything to the left down and turn everything to the right to zeros.
All right, I have a little rhyme for you to use to help you to remember when you need to round up and when you need to round down. Feel free to go ahead and write this down into your math notebook, and I find it very helpful just to remind me, which numbers make me want to round up and which numbers make me want to stay. So here's the way the rhyme goes. First verse, 1, 2, 3, or 4, you must stay on that floor. And I'll show you what that means in a minute. 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, up the stairs you must climb. Now, here's how it works. If I have a number, so here I have 24 and 81 hundredths. If I want to round to the nearest tenths, I know that the first step is I have to underline the number the place that I'm rounding to. So I'm rounding to the nearest tenths. Now I'm going to look at the number that comes to the right. I like to circle it. So this is the number that I'm going to look at to tell me whether or not I round up, or if I keep that number, the tenths, my 8, if I keep it the same. This is where we apply our rhyme. 1, 2, 3, or 4, you must stay on that floor. So if it's a 1, 2, 3, or 4 that we're looking at, we have to stay, our underlined digit stays the way it is. If it's 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, up the stairs you must climb. So then in that case, our underlined digit, we would add 1. So if I look here, the digit that I'm going to use to tell me whether or not I'm rounding up or staying is a 1. So I know that a 1, it means I have to stay. So my 8 stays. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite everything that comes before the 8, 24, and the decimal point. And I know that my 8 stays. And with the decimal, I don't need zeros after it. So use this little poem to help you remember whether or not you need to round up or whether you want your digits to stay the same. Have fun, guys.